All right, here we go with the fun stuff. This is where we get some color down on this concrete that you spent so much time in getting it all ready for. Whatever has been involved in getting the concrete prepared, this is the crowning jewel here. This is the fun side of things, to see it come alive with some color. And I'm excited to talk with you about this segment. So we're going to cover methodologies as to how we apply the colorant onto the concrete in the pump sprayers. And this is noteworthy and worth mentioning again, on those pump sprayers, really be certain that the ones that you have are going to be the solvent resistant. O-rings, gasket, seal type of pump sprayers, and the manufacturer will tell you if they are or not, so this doesn't backfire on you. I think I've already kind of gone over in the tools segment there how that can really be a bad day for you if you don't get the right ones. So we'll cover the pump sprayer methods, and keeping the pressure up on those is really important to be able to get the proper distribution of the product down onto the concrete. The idea here is to flood it to whatever concentration level you want. So it's totally up to you and flexible to you. The more you flood it, the heavier the puddling is, the darker the stain will turn out for you. It'll just soak in deeper, it'll be more concentrated, and as a result, whatever color you're using of the 11 that we suggest to you through Vivid Color Stains will turn out fully concentrated if it is that you really let it puddle quite a bit. So you'll have to figure out how much per square foot to make sure how much of the product you'll be ordering, so that and we'll provide the details of what you can expect with the application of the Vivid Stain, what kind of coverage the manufacturer recommends, and what it is that we've experienced when you throw it down in heavy concentrated levels, what your square footage rate would be that way. So we're going to cover what it is that you need to do in order to make sure that you cover all the concrete, or if you're going to leave some of it exposed. This is kind of the beauty in the acid staining, is if it is that you want to skip some areas, you can get away with that. If you decide that that's the way you want to do it, so that just some of the standard gray, basic gray concrete that you've got there, you want to reflect through as a secondary, third, fourth, fifth color, depending on how many colors you're going to be using in the acid stain. If you want that to show through, you'll have to use water. The water is going to help so that you don't end up with a panty line, if you will. It's going to be a defined line because the stain won't be flowing into that concrete. It'll stop in a dry area. So we're going to demonstrate how that works in some video clips here for you. But we're going to cover the detail of that so that you can understand what you'll end up getting. It's not like it's a one and done thing. Certainly you can go back over it after it's dried for 24 hours, and if you don't like an area, you can always hit it again, which is the beauty of this too. So you can do some touch up to make it exactly the way you want to. And if you wanted to double up on it as well, if you feel like the concentration color is not quite what you want, you could always hit it again, and that will darken it as well. So more often than not, once is enough. And if you plan it out just right, you'll end up being just happy as ever could be when it's all said and done with the right kind of planning. So when you put this acid stain down, you want to plan going from back to front. You want to always pre-plan to have an escape route. So wherever you're going to be working, go to the furthest end of your space, and you're going to be working yourself backwards. So that makes sense, right? Because you're spraying down the acid stain product and you don't want to be stepping in it. So you're going backwards in your work, and you're aimed towards your exit point so that you have it all timed so that you can have a way out of your project so there's no walking in it. You definitely don't want to go back over it at all. Don't even think about going back over it at all. And unless you're feeling compelled and you need to do something that you missed, that'll take us to a whole different approach here now. If you have to go back over the project and it's still drying, it's still wet, it's still puddling, you're going to need to use some cleats which keep your foot up off the floor. So I'll throw that in the video, show some pictures of what those cleats are. It's typically used in epoxy work and urethane work when you have to go back over a product like that to cast in chips or sand or some other aggregates in those kinds of products while the product is still wet. This would be the same situation for you if you have to get back out onto your project because you are not happy with what you're seeing over here and you want to add something more or do something in a different way of a design. Then you're going to need to have yourself prepared to strap on some cleats to go walk out onto the surface while it's still wet. Hope that makes sense. Beyond that, in the floor prep segment there, we demonstrated the masking if it is that you're going to have to mask some walls. I'm not going to cover that in any more detail here than I did just in the previous segment there on the actual floor prepping side of things, but that is also going to be something that you'll need to consider from start to finish, especially if you have carpet that comes down to meet in a stairwell, for example. When you come down your stairs, typically those landings end up having carpet at the bottom of them, or whatever it may be, tile or wood or whatever the laminate may be that's down there on the landing where it meets your concrete project. You're going to want to mask and make sure that that's all covered. So we'll go into the detail here with the photos, and with the live footage so that you can see how this is all going to be applied, and I'll come back with a few comments in conclusion after you've seen some of the live video feed and photos. You may recognize this video clip from the outline overview. This is just a reminder as to the simplicity of the tools that you'll be using to apply the acid stain. The first thing that we're going to do is get our pump sprayers all ready to go, and we're going to give them a dry run and a test here by labeling them first if you have multiple colors so you can tell which color is which, and then we're going to pressure them up and make sure that they're going to be functional. These two different types of sprayers, the Swiss Mex and the Echo, are both good solvent resistant O-ring type pump sprayers that you'll be able to use on your project. Once we can discover that their pressure is going to hold well and that the spray tips are spraying out the way that we want them, then we're ready to begin to mix and put the acid stain into the pump sprayers. It's a good idea to wear gloves. We recommend this if you don't want to get your hands stained for a couple of weeks. It's pretty tough to get it out of your hands. Do it in an area too where it's so if you have a spill or overspray, you can rinse it down really well and you don't care about what's happening in the yard. Then you can begin, and we recommend wearing a carbon-filled mask here to prevent any of the VOC emissions that come out of the acid itself and the fumes that are emitted into the atmosphere to harm you in any way. Working as a team and putting down multiple colors is something that you want to coordinate if you have a design or a pattern. This particular customer did want to put a particular design and pattern into the basement. She had visited Yellowstone and noticed some of those geothermal geysers, the upper basin and lower basin geysers that looked exactly like this turquoise and ebony that we're using in combination here. This is a slow motion version of how to apply the acid stain using the pump sprayer. You'll notice the circular motion to get consistency as well as distribution to make it nice and even. This will be a methodology that you'll want to incorporate in applying your acid stain as well, so that you can get it uniform and you can get the product to spread out nice and evenly. The next thing here is going to be completion of this project, and this is where we finally have an exit point. You want to plan that, so you'll notice that each of these segments are showing how we're backing up every time we're placing the acid, so we have our exit in strategy. We start from the end and go out to the beginning, so make that a part of your plan as well to make your escape route. And then if it is that you have to go back out over your project to touch up some areas that you're not happy with, you'll need to have these cleats that hold you up off of the surface so you don't leave footprints. And that's pretty much it in application. This is what it looks like after it has had 24 hours to cure and dry and do its chemical reaction with the concrete overnight. Pretty cool, huh? Once again, this is the turquoise and the ebony combination, and you can get roughly about 100 to 125 square feet per gallon when you put it down at the rate that we demonstrated on this particular project. You can look forward to this kind of a look and a whole lot more with your project, and this should complete our segment here on stain application. So isn't that exciting? This is really a thrill, and the fun part of this whole project is being able to put down the color itself and to see it come alive in that way. I'm excited for you, and just looking forward to your experience applying the acid stain in the design, in the pattern, in the way, in the color that you want and have been looking so forward to. And this is just such a fun process. I just love acid staining, and it's relatively simple once you get past that floor prep side of things. This is the fun side of it, and I believe that we've covered every detail that you'll ever need to know here on how to do the acid staining on a horizontal surface. So we'll look forward to seeing you now again as we follow up here with finishing your acid stain color project with the neutralization side of things. That'll be a pretty short segment, and we'll see you in that video here soon.